Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto, everybody. In today's episode, we are not only going to be talking about the Bitcoin price and the drop that we've seen over the last couple of hours, but we're also going to be talking about former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who says that potentially Bitcoin should not remain neutral. Instead, Bitcoin and the exchanges around it should pick a side over the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We're going to be discussing the concepts of decentralization and the future of Bitcoin, the principles it was founded on, and the purpose it was created for in the first place. Was Bitcoin created to pick sides over political conflict so that we can attack against different people that are evil, different states that are doing things that they shouldn't be? Or does Bitcoin absolutely have to maintain its neutrality above all else? Vitalik Buterin, for example, said that he is not neutral on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, but Ethereum most certainly is. We're going to talk about decentralization and the political stances that cryptocurrencies can and will take in today's episode. But in today's episode, we are joined, as always, by T.A. Tim. How you doing, Tim?
What's up, everybody? It's a fun day because, you know, I've sat in Jebb's seat before, and yeah, now I have my own set, so I don't have to flip when I do this. So I've hosted the show, but today I get to be the Kelly of the show because Kelly is not here. So Smay and I actually this morning went and did all the research for the articles, and I'm going to get to read those to you today. It's going to be fun. And, had our workout this morning, Smay and I. Smay hit a new PR. He's going to tell you about that here in just a second.
I wasn't, but I can.
It was a good morning. And it's going to be a good morning the rest of the show. So.
Well, speaking of Smay, let's go ahead and introduce him. Smay, our technical director and producer. Hello. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Woo!
We went to the gym this morning, and I worked out.
Okay.
And we did deadlifts, and I did 210. You know, it's still pretty light.
Nice.
215. 215.
Yeah.
215.
We didn't have 2.5
I was going to say 210 is a weird number.
Okay, I did 215, and it was definitely a fun one.
Nice.
Now, I will say that because of how I feel, there's something scientifically that happens when you work out. You end up getting a lot of endorphins in your brain. Endorphins make you feel good. Mm-hmm. And what I like to do when I feel good, my favorite first thing I ever think to do, right, is to say these green names. These green names make me feel so good. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say Ricardo Vinegas, Matt C.
Whoa.
Air Crypto 420. Hold on. Alexandre Ignacio.
Whoa.
Crypto Sec Guy. Crypto Alchemist.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Just Ray. Agent Gold. Eye of the Beholder. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Hold on. The Bitcoinologist. Whoa, I got to run through these faster. Spirit Maker.
Woo.
Oh my gosh. You guys are the greatest people in the world. And I just want to say, I'm still confident in my price prediction. 48. It's happening. I'm going to call on some whales real quick.
Calling all the whales.
Calling all the whales.
We got Hoskins,
Pump the
Sailor,
price.
and Elon on the other line. We're going to pump the price.
I love you guys.
Yes. We're going to bring him that HODL trophy. But we're also joined by a very special guest today. Met him about a year ago on Around the Blockchain. Very good friend of the channel. Works a lot with Kelly over on Twitter Spaces. And today he is on Coffee and Crypto. His name is Harry, otherwise known as Crypto Vet. How you doing, my friend?
Everybody, thank you so much for having me on. Super happy to be here. I've enjoyed doing everything with Kelly and everything with you guys around the blockchain. So I'm pumped to be here, and let's make it happen.
Heck yeah, guys. Well, we got a great show lined up for you. We've got a lot of political things that we're going to be talking about and treading lightly around today. As you know, there is a major conflict going on in Europe. The largest conflict that continent has seen in the last 70 years is a very tragic, horrible thing that is going on over there. And a lot of political pundits around the country, around the United States, are coming out making statements about it. And as I said, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of Hillary Clinton's statements here in a little bit. But before we get to that, we're first going to do our market rundown. Before we get to that, though, today's show is brought to you by iTrust Capital. If you want to invest with your retirement account in the cryptocurrency markets, there is no better place to do it. You can find the links to do so down below. But let's go ahead and take a look here at CoinMarketCap. We can see Bitcoin trading at $41,300, down 6% over the day. We can see Ethereum down 7% as well. Binance down 4%. XRP down 4%. Luna down 4%. Solana down 8%. Avalanche even down 2%. It has been performing very well. So has Luna. But all of these projects down quite a bit right now. Looking over the last 24 hours, we can see Cosmos, Wave, CeeLo, Chiliz. I almost said Chiliz. Chiliz, Thorchain are some of the only ones that are in the green right now. And we can also see that in the biggest losers, we have some different projects like Rocket Pool, Convex Finance, Insure DeFi, some different projects that I'm not very familiar with. It's at least right now CoinMarketCap's throwing itself off because it's trying to show everything, but that's completely all right. Here's the deal, guys. As Bitcoin goes into a correction here, we're also pulling away from $2 trillion market capitalization, which a lot of people don't realize. This is actually a very important level of resistance that Bitcoin has been attempting, or excuse me, all of crypto has been attempting to get above for a while. It's hard to see on the price action charts because you're not looking at a market capitalization chart over here, but you can see it on CoinMarketCap. This line right here, this horizontal line at this point right there represents $2 trillion. You can see we tested it and rejected from it earlier on in February. We tested it and rejected from it in mid-February, and then we tested and rejected from it here just a couple of days ago in early March, and we pulled back down and tested as support before. Right now, it's not only technicals and chart formations on Bitcoin and Ethereum that are driving the price of Bitcoin, it's also that $2 trillion market capitalization. And in fact, even as we look at our different charts over here on CoinMarketCap, we can remember that one of the things going on right now that is both a bullish and also kind of a confusing thing is that one, Bitcoin is currently sitting at 39, or excuse me, back in January, Bitcoin was sitting at 39% market dominance, has rallied all the way up to 41.76, taking some of that dominance away from Ethereum. The reason that that is important is because it shows us that people are starting to take their money from Ethereum, they're starting to take their money from the altcoins, and they're starting to put them back into Bitcoin. That oftentimes shows us that the Bitcoin market is the market that is the more stable of the two. It means that people are starting to invest in Bitcoin because they see opportunity in Bitcoin rather than speculating on altcoins. A lot of times that is what we call the beginning of the altcoin engine. It means that things are starting to kick off. It means that people are starting to, say, okay, hang on a second with the altcoins. I'm going to put some into Bitcoin because it seems like Bitcoin is really starting to run. Another couple of things to look at here. We're looking at just under $800 billion market capitalization on Bitcoin. If you didn't realize this, we're also about to pass 19 million in circulating supply for Bitcoin. And despite the recent price drop, we are still up over the last 7 days. Now, even before we get into the actual technical analysis on Bitcoin, I do actually want to show you one chart, and that would be the Brent crude oil futures. Excuse me, not futures, Brent crude oil. I want to show you what's going on with the oil price. We were actually talking about this right before we went on air. Oil has absolutely skyrocketed to $115 a barrel. Pretty much all of you guys are talking about that in chat. You've recognized it. Down here in Florida, we are used to, $2.20 a gallon gas prices. Right now, you guys are spending $2 a liter in nations that use the metric system. We're used to $2.20. We're almost $4 a gallon of gasoline right now. We've talked about the history of what's going on with Russia and everything. Russia has talked about not expanding production to meet the demand. They're going to keep it lower to keep the gas prices higher. Story for another day, but I did want to bring that to your attention. Right now, oil prices are sitting in approaching all-time high territories. This is where we were sitting between 2011 and 2014. If you study the shipping industry, you'll know that this time a lot of different things like slow steaming came about. Very high oil prices have a big impact on the Bitcoin cryptocurrency markets. We're going to talk about that more in other content, but I did just want to bring that to our attention really quickly. Now, before we jump into the actual Bitcoin technical analysis, I want to ask Tim. Tim, what were some of your biggest takeaways from the show yesterday? Yeah. And what are some of the most important things that you think we need to cover today?
Well, we did discuss how we were yesterday, again, keyword were, in a flag that we broke bearish out of. So that happens sometimes with bull flags, that they don't actually end up going to their full fruition. We did talk about if it had gone up, I did think that 46 was going to be a level of resistance. Turns out that that's irrelevant. We didn't go and hit 46 to resist. We went ahead and started heading down towards 42, now sitting right around 41. I still think, though, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, I still think even if we're below 42, 40,000 at this point is still a strong level of support that would still fall under that inverse head and shoulders pattern. But there is a lot to kind of watch. I didn't say this on the show yesterday, but I put it on Twitter, that right now I'm kind of in a spot, I'm watching the market, but my two buying opportunities, my next buying opportunities, because I do have some money I want to put into Bitcoin, is going to be either confirmations above 46 or dropping back down into the mid 30s before I purchase.
There you go. Well, good deal, guys. Well, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go ahead and jump into our Bitcoin technical analysis. Quite a bit to talk about here, but before we get into it, smash that like button. Thank you so very much to the 1,000+ people that are watching live right now. Go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps to support our channel, helps to promote us in the algorithm. If you think you're getting value out of this content, then someone else might as well. So we very much appreciate your support. But let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin here. So there's a lot of things we need to break down. Right now, Bitcoin is playing with a ton of different levels. I'm going to go on the 4-hourly chart. There's a few things I'm going to kind of move around here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of these two lines right here. Everything that's left here on the chart is actually very important. We have support here at $40,000. We have resistance currently at $42,000, and we have resistance here at $44,500. I'll go ahead and switch these to red so that you can see them a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and do this. I like to use red for my resistance and blue for my support. Right now, Bitcoin is in a smaller correction, and we talked about back when I was on the show on Wednesday How it would not necessarily be a bad thing to see Bitcoin come down to $42,000, maybe even a little bit lower, because it means that we could institute this inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, right now, where we are sitting on Bitcoin is a little bit lower than I would like. I would have liked Bitcoin to hold around $42,000. I need to check, but I have a feeling that there were quite a bit of long liquidations over the last couple of days that led to a large drop here. And also, there's still quite a bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the cryptocurrency markets. So that leads to this drop on Bitcoin. But the question now is, can this turn into opportunity? Because yes, there is an inverse head and shoulders pattern printing, but first we need to have a bounce on Bitcoin. And by the way, if we did have a bounce on Bitcoin here, which I think we probably will, then we would also, in theory, be forming a cup and handle formation just like this with an uptrend right there, and then we'd have our price target. So there's two different patterns that are teasing that they may be forming. Let's go ahead and look at these right here. If we did see that inverse head and shoulders pattern break to the upside, we'd be looking at $57,000. You would draw the price target for a cup and handle pattern exactly the same way. The reason that I think that there is still a chance that we could see this inverse head and shoulders pattern play out is because of this uptrending level of support right here. We have tests going all the way back to January the 21st. We can see that here, and then also here on January 24th, tests here on February the 3rd, resistance and support touches here on the 20th and 21st of February, resistance here, and we are now testing it as support again. So, Tim, do you think that we're going to be able to see this inverse head and shoulders pattern play out? And do you think a $57,000 price target is reasonable?
It's still well within the card. So do I think it's going to play out? This is where I've been wrong. I'm going to say where I've been right and where I've been wrong. What I've been right about is my options that I think we have. I lay out the options and the reasons it's going to do things. What I've been wrong about recently is trying to guess what I think the option is. Until we see confirmations, you'll never know for certain. And we'll go to my chart here in a little bit, I think, after Jebb does his. But as it stands right now, inverse head and shoulders pattern is definitely not played out. It's definitely not out of the cards. It's not a sure thing, though. So we'll talk a little bit more, but as it stands right now, yes, I still believe it is very possible and potentially even likely, but there still is an argument to be made that it won't happen. I know that's not the answer people like. It could go up, could go down, but it's what is needed, even if it's not wanted.
Absolutely, and I think it's very important also that we keep in mind the fundamentals and the technicals and the on-chain, everything here. We got to look at this as a all-inclusive picture. There is a lot of FUD coming out of Eastern Europe right now. There is a lot of FUD coming out of gas prices in the United States, largely driven by the supply of oil coming out of the Middle East and Russia. There is a lot of FUD coming out about inflation, about interest rates. We talked about interest rates on the show yesterday a little bit, I believe. I think you guys touched on that. I saw a poll on Twitter. So what I'm getting at here is that there is a whirlwind of information going around in cryptocurrency that is leading to a lot of this FUD. Does any of it actually have to do with the fundamentals underlying intrinsic value of Bitcoin? No, it doesn't. What does impact Bitcoin are news and technicals and fundamentals that are short-term, that are FUD. What is actually going to drive the long-term price of Bitcoin, what has always driven the long-term price of Bitcoin, is the hash rate, the difficulty, the number of active users, the number of the retail in it, the institutional adoption. All of those things are continuing to push forward. So just keep that in mind as we talk about this price action. So looking at the daily chart, I want to zoom out a little bit. One of the things that we do see is that there is a little bit of a red waterfall going on right now on Bitcoin, dropping down here. I would say that $40,000 is a level to be watching. I quite frankly, have seen a lot of my technical confirmations of an uptrend on Bitcoin already get invalidated. I told you guys I want to see 4 things, and I want to see all 4 of these things play out with confidence if I'm going to say that Bitcoin's going to go into a big uptrend to $57,000 or whatnot. I want to see Bitcoin stay above $42,000 confidently for 7 to 10 days. We've already dropped below that. I want to see a confirmed buy signal on Lux Algo for 7 to 10 days. That is currently in play, but we'll see for how long. On the 3-daily chart, I also said I wanted to see RSI above 50 for 7 to 10 days, and I also said I want to see MACD bullish for 7 to 10 more days. That has already played out. Currently, a couple of those are invalidating themselves. However, what Bitcoin can do to come in and start an actual rally is it can come here on the 3-daily chart and bounce off of this trend catcher, and if it moves to the upside, we could end up seeing a bullish buy signal on the Lux Algo indicator out here on the 3-daily chart for the first time since October 1. What we saw is that every single time that we have ever seen a confirmed buy signal on Lux Algo out on the 3-daily chart, which I actually have vertical lines drawing them right here, every single time we've ever seen a confirmed buy signal on the 3-daily chart in the last 2 years, it has led to a major rally. We do have the opportunity to go ahead and place one of those, to put one of those in play here in just the next couple of days, and if we do, that would help us to lead to the upside. So there's a lot of long-term technicals, a lot of long-term fundamentals at play right now, but Harry, I'd love to ask your opinion on this. There are some reasons that we're kind of scared, we're a little bit bearish down on the daily chart, even on the 4-hourly chart, but I think you might agree that long-term the fundamentals are looking pretty solid. So what is your take of this this argument between the long-term bullish fundamentals and the short-term FUD and price action?
I think currently right now between short-term price FUD action and long-term macro fundamentals, everyone's trying to figure out how does this play into this short-term price action? Like, how can I make money? Because most people are trying to go in and day trade and make a little bit here and kind of go up. And if we're trying to do that, there's a completely different strategy that has to be taken when you want to approach these markets. So when you're brand new to the market, and I know you and a lot of other people say this, you need to figure out where do you stand. And if you are just now learning, maybe you shouldn't be going into leverage trading on Cardano on Bybit using a VPN if you still barely just got into Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So as far as figuring out what to do now we have the lowest volume overall, especially since the beginning of the year and when we had our high last year. The volume's just been steadily decreasing. We have conflicts going on across the world. So overall, in the end, we know and we hope that Bitcoin's price is going to go up, and that's what we're playing off of. But if we're going off of now, we have to look more onto the on-chain and people's psychology and the TA behind it. And if we look at it right now, we can kind of see, like you said, on the 4-hourly, we might seeing a little bit of a bottom. If you look at Market Cipher, we can see the momentum wave slowly coming down on a bottom where we could be bouncing off of, say, the 20 daily exponential moving average. I believe right there's also the 50 daily simple moving average. So for traders who are just using the simple moving average, this could be a really good bounce point. But I'm still long-term fundamentals on Bitcoin. So right now, this is baby price action before a bigger move here soon.
I totally agree with you. And by the way, Vet, let me go ahead and read a comment here. Crypto Alchemist said, at Crypto Vet, dude's got some sick ink, which I totally agree with. By the way, Vet, I introduced you at the beginning of the show. Some people just tuned in. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, how we met, and also where people can find you on social media? Because you're definitely somebody that people ought to be following.
Oh, much appreciated. Yeah. So I guess during the C word, when that all started, I was originally a veterinary surgeon.
It's the
did
disease that shall not be named.
a day.
Yes. We call it the 2020
Yeah.
flu.
So I originally was a veterinary surgeon, and when that happened, my daily work got cut down. So I went to figuring out something else. I was already invested in real estate, other types of Forex and stocks, moved into really diving into crypto. Almost bought crypto in 2012, bought a house instead.
No.
I'm an idiot. But here we are now. I've been doing YouTube for a couple years. I'm currently the director of technology now for Pennyfly Entertainment. And what I do there is I help bring crypto to artist brands. And it's an artist for artist platform. So that way, if you're really talented, you don't have to give up all of your stuff to Capitol Records just to have a hit that's produced by Justin Bieber's producer, right? Through networking and lots of connections, we have access to that. So my main goal is to bring crypto education to everybody, whether that's through channels, my own channel, any way, shape, or form. So currently partnered with a big influencer agency, so that way I can help educate influencers before they start promoting any type of random crypto project. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I'm excited about just the gaming space in general, and that's kind of one of the biggest reasons why I was drawn to you guys. Y'all had a huge gaming background, and yeah, I've been watching your show for I guess over 2 years now, and it's just really happy to be a part of this because everything's grown up so big. And it's absolutely wild. And I put my link tree in the deal, and I'll just drop that in the chat. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Good deal. Well, thank you so very much for coming on the show, Harry. I really appreciate it. We're going to be talking with you a little bit more about these Hillary Clinton comments here in a second. But guys, if you're enjoying today's show, smash that like button. I know we can get to 500 likes over the next couple of minutes. Tim, I want to throw you the same question I asked Harry. What is your make of all the long-term bullish fundamentals that continually march forward and they never seem to slow down, and the fact that there is a lot of boredom in the crypto space lately? People frankly just are not paying as much attention as they were 6 months ago. You have FUD coming out. Everybody's looking at CNN and MSNBC and all these news agencies about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. That's got all of the retail attention right now. What do you make of that dichotomy between the people that are saying, hey, the long-term technicals, super, super, super bullish. Short-term, though, there's just not much going on.
Yeah, I mean, that has to go with, are you experienced in crypto or are you not experienced in crypto? Those who are experienced know that actually might be one of the most bullish things right there, that the price is this high while being this boring. If you go back throughout the history, and again, I'm only 2 years into this now, but I've done my back analysis. I've talked to those wiser and older than me that have been here for a while, and you're seeing extremely low levels when we're talking about boring. Like, look at the volume action we're seeing. When we're seeing volume action like this in the past, these are ridiculously low prices. So the fact that we're hovering between 30 and 40 while being boring, or I guess it's really 30 and 46 while being boring, is long-term bullish in it of itself. Again, if you're new, you're very impressionable. You're willing to look at the news, look at the FUD and the FOMO, and make your opinions based solely on that. But the experienced traders, the experienced investors, they know that what we're seeing right now is simply a ploy to try to FUD people out, because this is the time where the institutions and whales try to gobble as much as they can. I've talked a lot about that, about the composite man, Bub, as some of you guys know, I call him. And again, I am really focused right now in this season of looking at the 1 hour and 4 hourly charts, because I want to know what's happening next. I always want to be preparing myself for the next 24 to 72 hours. However, when I zoom out, I'm long term. My holding portfolio, my hodling portfolio, it's safe, and I'm trusting it's about to grow here within the next couple of months.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right, but let's play devil's advocate a little bit. You know, one of the things that I'm excited about is that Bitcoin has been setting similar highs up here around $45,000, even despite the fact that the boredom is setting in and people are paying attention to other things. We're setting higher lows. Even though all of that's true, there is also an argument to be made that right now there is a bear flag forming on Bitcoin that's been in place since the beginning of the year, and that if we had a price target for that, it would drop us down to like $30,000, if not lower. What do you make of the argument that, yes, we're managing to maintain a $40,000 price level right now despite all the boredom? What would you say to someone who says, yeah, but is that going to last? What if we do drop down into those 20s?
I mean, there's always a case. Like, I was thinking about it this morning. There is no guarantee about a bottom price. Whenever any analyst, whether they are brand new or they have been here since the very beginning, not even Satoshi Nakamoto knows what the absolute bottom is. However, when we're looking at the news, when we're looking at the fundamentals, when we're looking at things that are happening, and taking into account that right now is considered a boring, or as Smay's called it, a turtle market, knowing that as we read the headlines that are not getting main attention, these massive institutions are beginning to move into it. We talked about on the show 2 days ago, the amount of people who not only, like just recently within the last 2 years, used to say Bitcoin was the worst. They used to say it's not going anywhere, it's going to zero. And they are flipping their tunes to now say, actually, I was wrong. Bitcoin is the future. Those are the things that keep me in a healthy spot of saying, you know what, even if the price goes into the 20s, I'm going to continue to hold on, because the price is going to continue to go up and to the right as it has since its very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And Smay, let me ask you one question before we move on here to our first community discussion. By the way, guys, we read every super chat, so if there's anything that you really want us to see and to read, we do appreciate all of your support. Smay, how much do you think the current political zeitgeist, i.e. Russia invading Ukraine, interest rates, you know, all kinds of FUD coming out about oil prices, how much do you think all of this news and media is driving people away from crypto? How big of an impact do you think that is having on crypto insofar as those news things being just a big distraction from the cryptocurrency space?
Well, I think exactly the word you just used, distraction, right? I think we still live in this era of crypto's adoption where we're still early enough to where and I actually just think this is a big change in culture in general, is that I think that everything is very much driven on hype and culturally talking about it a lot. I think when something else catches the attention of everybody's minds right now, politically, things are wild, guys. Like, there's things on left, right, you know, front, center, back, you know, whatever. Like, there's things everywhere right now that are, and one of the biggest of them being this conflict in Europe. But like, I think there's so many things politically and just in general that have distracted people from wanting to talk about in Bitcoin and invest and grow that adoption, that there's not a hype right now. There's just very much a kind of a boring, if anything, somberness in the worldwide at this point. So ultimately, that is the perfect ripe environment for a turtle markets. So that's why I think we're at.
So despite all of this, because I agree with you, despite all of this mainstream media FUD and distraction coming into the space being necessarily bad for the cryptocurrency space, is distracting a lot of people, would you say that a lot of what's going on in the world right now in the long run would actually be good for Bitcoin because it shows the value proposition of Bitcoin? Yeah,
I mean, I think if anything, this will start to itch away at a lot of people's concerns. If things continue to stay somber, right? People are starting to continue to be uncertain. They're going to start to try to look for that way out of that hole of that kind of depression that they're feeling. And in that, I think that for a lot of people, if it's a financial issue, they're going to look for find ways to get out financially. And what you'll find is there's going to be a lot of people that, for multiple different reasons, gravitate towards crypto in the long run. But it has to start hurting first. And right now, I think people are just a little bit a little bit uneasy, but once it starts to really hurt the environment, then they're going to find something attached to, and you'll see different reasons. You'll see people jumping on it for decentralization purposes, and so on, or you'll see people jumping on it because they want to make gains, they want to start trading, they want to get out of their financial rut. So.
And I think the reason I ask that is because there's a lot of things going on in the traditional in the world right now that are bad for the Bitcoin price in the short term. War and conflict is not good for the Bitcoin price. First of all, it's a horrible thing just from a moral standpoint. It's a travesty and it's a tragedy of what's going on right now. But it's also bad for the Bitcoin price. It being bad for people is much more important than being bad for the price, but it's just a fact. It is bad for the price. But at the same time, even though it's bad for the short-term price, everything that's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now is actually just exemplifying the need for Bitcoin. You got people having their bank accounts shut down. You have people not being able to access their finances, so they're not able to move and travel. They are not able to exercise financial sovereignty during conflict. And it's like, okay, yeah, you have financial sovereignty kind of whenever it's convenient, and then a war breaks out, and then you lose it because of the way the systems are built. So we care very much about this concept of financial sovereignty. And the thing I want you guys to remember is that the reason that we talk about price so much is because that's what our channel is based around. That's the point of this channel, is to bring you price updates. But never forget that no matter what the Bitcoin price does, its underlying intrinsic reason for being created, which was to have a decentralized peer-to-peer currency, that has never been undermined, and that is only stronger than ever. Its purpose and its principles are only growing more and more by the day. So yes, the price might be down a little bit from all-time high. Yes, there could be bearish technicals and fundamentals, but please don't forget that the price action is not the most important thing that Bitcoin has. Its purpose instead is. With that said, let's go ahead and move into our first community discussion here, and then we're going to jump into some headlines and discussion.
Yeah, we have a couple here. Crypto Alchemist said for vet, which is great, and this is one of the reasons I also would love that he's on the show today and future shows. Just so you guys know, if you have questions about altcoins and NFTs, XRP, I know he's really big on XRP as well. Great days to ask those questions when he's here. But for vet, are you familiar with Soul Fighters, an NFT future P2E game? Is it a dead project or does it have some potential? Glad to have you here.
Super glad to be here as always, like I said. As far as the Soul Fighters, there's a couple things, rumors and FUD going on with it. And, I won't get into deep on it here, but I have been diving deep into the Discord and other things, and there are some red flags, but we can go over those later since it's definitely not on topic. But the Solana NFTs are coming into a couple hiccups, same with the Cardano ones, especially with lots of congestion and, of course, duplication and people scamming everyone.
Gotcha. Anyone else have any thoughts about that?
I don't. I'm not familiar with the project, so I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
Divesh Sinai, I think that's how it's pronounced, said thoughts on Engine Coin and the price prediction for 2022.
I'm vaguely familiar with Engine. It looks like Kelly's in the chat. I know he could tell you something about it.
Well, yeah, he said he's on his way to the airport, I think.
Oh, there you go. I'm pretty sure Engine is one of the coins that's kind of a back end for blockchain gaming to be developed on, for blockchain games to be developed on. Is that right?
Yeah. It's Engine. It's cleverly called Engine because it's a game engine.
It's a game engine, basically. Yeah. I don't know too much about the fundamentals of it, but what I can tell you is that I am a big proponent of investing in infrastructure. That's why I invest in Ethereum, Cardano, Bitcoin. These are all infrastructure projects that you build other things on top of. I'm not going to be as interested in investing in something like a Pancake Swap or a Sunday Swap because that's the product built on the infrastructure. I would much rather invest in the underlying architecture that supports those projects, because if I do that, then whenever those projects make money, it's going to lead back to value for the infrastructure. So I can't tell you much about the actual fundamentals of Engine itself, but I do believe it's one of the larger, if not the largest, basically blockchain gaming engines there is. If that's the case, then I would definitely say it's something to look into. I might look into it some more after this conversation, to be honest with you. So,
we had one that just came in from Lucas Jaskowski, who's been a member now for 2 months as a Jebbi Youngling. Said, have you heard about Seesaw Protocol?
I have not.
No, but I think it's pretty up and down.
It's pretty up and down. Yeah, the price is up and down. Had to do it to you. Had to.
Vet, have you heard anything about Seesaw?
I have not heard anything about Seesaw. I'm just giggling.
Do you Seesaw? Yeah, that's an office reference. Of course I Seesaw. Anyway,
okay.
All right. That's all the ones we have. I did see someone say real quick, Jebb, could you recap the show? He said, could you restart the show over because I just got here? We can't restart the show, but what have we talked about so far and where are we about to go?
Yeah, so Bitcoin's been down over the last 3 days. We talked about why that might be. I said that FUD from Russia, Ukraine, interest rates, oil markets, and the rest of the geopolitical zeitgeist right now are leading to uncertainty in the cryptocurrency space. And as a result of that, one, it is driving the price down and stopping it from getting above $45,000 over the last 3 months. However, much of what's what's going on in the geopolitical space right now is actually going to lead to much more price appreciation on Bitcoin in the future, because it is exemplifying the main reason why Bitcoin was created, which was to help you achieve financial sovereignty. That's really what we've talked about this entire show so far. But speaking about what we're talking about this show, now we're going to go ahead and move into headlines and discussions. Tim, could you take that away for us?
This is going to be fun, because this is my first day getting to do this. Kelly usually runs us through, but before I get there, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We are going to have a lot of stuff coming out here soon. You don't want to miss it. But I want to separate, there's two different things. A couple articles, heavy news day today. But there's two different sections. We're going to talk about Bitcoin fundamental articles that are coming out. And then we're going to discuss Hillary's comments recently and everything that's happening with Russia, Ukraine, because that is probably the most talked about story in crypto right now, even though theoretically speaking, it's not correlated. What's happening over there is having a lot of impact on crypto. So let's start off. A couple of things that people should be ready and waiting for is that Bitcoin mining difficulty drops for the first time this year, dropping 1.5%. Now, this story goes on to talk about, it interviewed miners, and it talked about how we haven't seen a drop really since that dip we had back in May, June, July. However, when you look at this chat on Glassnode, even though we've gone down, this really isn't that significant in my opinion, so I want to see if this continues. But just so you know, miners are even commenting on the fact that they have seen it a little bit easier to do their job. And so the next story that might have some form of impact, and I want to hear necessarily what Jebb thinks on this, but New York Bitcoin mining moratorium bill garners more support. What that bill is talking about is potentially taking a 3-year hiatus or a 3-year gap on allowing the state of New York to mine Bitcoin. Not a lot to add here. If you guys want to read that article, it's on Cointelegraph. But ultimately, here's a state that we know, New York City, and the mayors that are running for New York City mayorship are very pro-Bitcoin, but the state itself might put a 3-year hiatus on mining.
That's really interesting, because Kelly talked about it. I think he talked about this on the show. This might have been off camera, but he lives in New York City. He talked about how, yes, New York City is the financial capital of the world, but it's so hard to get anything done there. And I think you've seen this happen a lot over the last 2 years, where you have very, very, very successful states and cities. I'm mainly talking about California, Los Angeles, and then New York and New York City. These states and cities been extremely successful, have all kinds of billionaires living there, but they want to overstep, and they want to crack down, and they want to make it difficult, and they want to say, yes, but you can't do business here because of X, Y, and Z. And then what happened? Everybody moved to Florida. I live in Florida, so yippee-ki-yay, come on, billionaires, come live here, help my state economy, because we don't have a state tax, and we're not going to try and stop you from doing your job. So this is very much, one, in line with the way that New York City, New York State has often played the game, and two, it also shows you that there is competition on an interstate level in the United States. If you do see New York State do this, you know what's going to happen? Everybody's going to leave New York State behind, and they are going to miss out on one of the biggest financial revolutions that we have ever seen. They're going to miss out on the mining sector, because there could be hundreds of billions of dollars in mining done in New York. Now, their energy is very expensive, so it might not be exactly a mining hub, but they're going to get left behind, and you would think that New York, the state, would have learned from the mistakes of New York City and Los Angeles County by getting all of their wealthy people to leave and go do business somewhere else, because it's not good for their economy. But, that's just what I think.
Well, those are the two stories that have potential bearish implications on the Bitcoin price. The bullish one is that Bitcoin might, and that's the key word here, might be seeing a major core update in April. Now, why this is significant is because a lot of people kind of just treat Bitcoin as it's the oldest, it's the same, it's never going to change. But Bitcoin, even though it does it slower than other projects, does in fact from time to time update. And so this is something that potentially is going to be coming out here in April. And I'm going to scroll to what that would mean for everybody. It says the update might improve transaction privacy to allow for recurring payments without a third party. So this is something that I don't know, it might not be the most massive piece of fundamental news breaking, but this does give us some clarity on Bitcoin is not finished. Bitcoin is continuing to update and improve along with all the other altcoins. So that's our fundamental updates on what's happening in Bitcoin, what you need to know about. Let's kind of change pace and move on to the Russia issue, because again, that's probably the main concern of most crypto investors right now. Now, the first thing is we talked about yesterday, Kelly brought up an article talking about the increased volume happening in Russia right now in crypto. And JP Morgan is even getting on board with this, saying that the crypto is set to be a big boost from ruble's collapse and the growing market share of stablecoins. So JP Morgan is talking about how everything happening right now over in the Ukraine is affecting the Russian people, and due to the collapse of the ruble, we're seeing actual increase in the volume. Now, this is a little bit this is a discussion that I need to do more digging in to find the truth, because also breaking this morning was an article from Proactive talking about how Bitcoin bounce theory debunked as Russian crypto trading volume falls 50%. So pause right there. A lot of people are putting the recent bullish price action on what is happening right now and Russia getting into it. Obviously, here in the last about 30 to 36 hours, we've seen Bitcoin start to come down. But according to this article, it goes into detail on how actually this 15% hike last week that we saw due to Russian volume might not have actually been due to Russian volume, but more anticipation of other people believing that that volume would increase. So this is something definitely to continue to keep an eye on. I'm not going to make a statement, Jebb, you're welcome to, because I do not see what the Russian volume is right now, but we're kind of seeing conflicting reports right now. Some people saying that it's improving and Russia's adopting Bitcoin very quickly, whereas others are saying, no, actually, nothing significant is happening. That's actually more an anticipation move. Do you have any thoughts about that before I move on to the last story?
The thing you got to realize, I'll show them the Russian ruble chart right now. That's the currency of Russia. If you take a look at the ruble, I'll look at a 3-daily chart and show you the history of it. It's undergone major corrections also. It happened in 98, back when it went from 15 cents all the way down to about 4 cents. But you can see what's going on right here. We saw a major drop in 2014 as well against the US dollar. Take a look at what has happened in just the last couple of weeks ever since the invasion began. Going back to February 17th, I'll actually go to the daily chart so we get a little more resolution here. Going back to February the 17th, the ruble is down 32% in 18 days. It's very, very, very difficult to get a currency to go up in valuation unless the currency that it's trading against loses valuation. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that the Russian ruble has been losing valuation against the dollar, especially for the last 2 years, despite the fact that the US dollar is losing valuation. So it's actually losing value even faster than you think it is. If you were to change this chart to look at, $2,000, it would be losing money very, very quickly, even faster than it already is. Here's why this is so important. Everybody's talking about all these sanctions, and they say, look, Maersk and MSC make up 34% of global shipping markets, just shut down everything except food and humanitarian deliveries and exports and imports to Russia. We just saw, almost every single nation in the European Union has shut down their airspace. Major nations all around the world shutting down their airports for Russian airlines. We're seeing all kinds of sanctions put on Russia. A lot of people are saying, yes, but guess what? Russia has $600 billion in their war chest. They got $500 billion in their war chest. Yes, but a lot of that is stored in the ruble, and the ruble just lost 30% of its value. However much money in their war, and I don't know the exact number on this, however much money in their war chest is stored in rubles, they just lost 30% of that. Let's be clear on that. And their economy also just lost 30% of its purchasing power, because everybody who is storing their money in the ruble, which is typically what you do, you store your money in your national currency, just lost a third of their net worth in a week and a half. So that is a horrible thing for the Russian people. When we talk about Russia and Russia's doing terrible things, we're talking about the government, and I'm mainly talking about Putin. I want to be clear on that. I don't have a problem with the Russian people. I do have a problem with Putin. I'll be very clear on that. However, the other point here is that what just happened to this currency shows you exactly why Bitcoin is so important. Bitcoin could lose 30% of its value in a day. In fact, I've watched it lose 50% of its value in a day, but it didn't do it because one leader came in and started a global conflict and crashed the currency because they wanted to be expansionist. It didn't happen because someone wanted to do something for their own self-gain, and then it caused a collapse in the price action of the currency that would impact millions and millions of people. When Bitcoin loses its valuation, it's because of FUD, and it'll come right back because its fundamentals are always growing. The ruble crashing a third in 2.5 weeks shows you exactly why Bitcoin needs to be around in the first place.
Yeah, I completely agree. And now we're going to move on to the last story. And this is the one we titled the whole show around. And I want the whole team to discuss the implications of this. But on Crypto Potato, which, again, I don't know if Crypto Potato is the most reliable source, but you can find it almost anywhere. This is just where we had the article. Hillary Clinton has come out and is disappointed that some crypto exchanges refuse to stop servicing Russians. Her direct quote right here says, "I was disappointed to see that some of the so-called crypto exchanges, not all of them, but some of them are refusing to end transactions with Russia for some philosophy of libertarianism or whatever." So we're not going to get into the deep politics of the Clintons and of libertarianism. I want everyone, whatever you believe politically, that's all up to you. This is the point. It's not just Hillary. We actually see a lot of politicians and a lot of people speaking their mind, wishing that exchanges would actually close the doors to some of these Russian people, even the innocent civilians who have done nothing. And the question is, if we were to listen to these voices, and some exchanges have, but if all exchanges were to listen to the cries to continue to put sanctions on Russia, including the crypto exchanges, what would that mean for the future of crypto?
Here's the thing, guys. Crypto was built for a reason. Bitcoin was not built for a price action. It was not built for profit. It was built for people. It was built on principles, and it was built to fulfill a purpose. That's why Bitcoin was created. It was not built so that we could all become millionaires. That's why we don't talk about financial freedom anymore. For a long time, we said, hey, our vision is to help you achieve financial freedom. And then I stepped back one day and I looked and I'm like, you know what? Financial freedom has become a very bastardized term. I don't think that's a curse word in that phrasing. I hope it isn't. It has become very misguided. Financial freedom nowadays means I have a yacht, I have a nice house, I have a boat, I have a car, I have $1 million in the bank account. Hey, look, great. I want you guys to be very wealthy. I want you guys to make a lot of money in crypto, but more importantly than that, I want you to have financial sovereignty. And what that means is having control over your own finances. Bitcoin, in my opinion, was built for the purpose of helping people achieve financial sovereignty. That's why Ethereum was built. That's why Cardano was built. That's why all these different projects were built to help people achieve financial sovereignty in a lot more ways than just making money. It's much more complicated than that. It's immutability, it's decentralization, it's proper governance, it's, as Charles Hoskinson talked about on the channel a month ago, inclusive accountability. These are all very important concepts, and cryptocurrency is a revolution, not just of price, but also of purpose for people. So the reason that I disagree with Hillary here, and I'm not going to get into a bunch of politics here, I know Hillary's a very inflammatory name. The reason that I disagree with Hillary here is because Bitcoin was not designed to be something that you use to control what people think or what people do. It was designed to be a neutral entity that allows people to not have the shackles of another person telling them what to do with their finances. That's what it was. It was not designed to pick sides. It was in fact designed so that you cannot pick sides, and it was in fact designed so that there is absolutely no possible way to force a side to be chosen. Now here's the deal. There's nothing wrong with an individual having an opinion. I have an opinion. I think Putin is an expansionist. I think he's a liar, and I think he's, the reason that this happened. I'll make that clear. That's what I think. Bitcoin does not have that opinion. Bitcoin is going to make itself just as available to Vladimir Putin himself as it would to me, as it would to you, or Tim, or Smay, or Harry here on the channel. Because Bitcoin does not have the ability to have an opinion if it stands for decentralization. I stand for decentralization, however, I am not Bitcoin. I was not created for the sake of being decentralized and being immutable and being uncensorable. I was created for a different purpose. I was created for the purpose of running a YouTube channel, of helping to spread the gospel to people. I was created for that purpose. I was not created for the purpose of keeping my mouth shut on everything. Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, also said something recently. He said Ethereum, he didn't say Ethereum is neutral. He said Ethereum has to be neutral. He said he very much isn't, but that's beside the point. The point here is that Hillary does not understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and she wants to be able to use Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a sanction tool against Russia. I don't have a problem with sanctions, to be honest with you. I think a lot of the sanctions that have been put against Russia are sad because they're hurting the Russian people, but at the same time, unless you want to go into a direct conflict with a nuclear power, there's not much you can do to slap somebody on the wrist for what they just did in Ukraine. I'm not necessarily against sanctions, but cryptocurrency cannot be used for that. And any exchange that tries to shut down people's ability to trade Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies within the nation of Russia has forgotten the purpose of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. They truly have. They've forgotten that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was designed to be immutable, and it was designed to be used by everyone, even if you don't agree with them, even if you think they're evil. And that's a hard truth. Freedom of speech is something that we all stand for until somebody says something that we don't like. That's kind of the problem that we're running through in the world right now. We got to be careful about this. If we truly have these rights and principles that the entire society that we live in is built on, then we can't compromise on them when it's inconvenient. But Tim, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, and I'd love to hear Vet's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief, and this is just the only point. When freedom and decentralization are put into place, they are not put into place thinking that the whole system will be perfect. But what they are put into place is to stop things like tyranny from happening. And guess what? Bad things will happen. Bad people will get their hands on crypto. Bad things are going to come of the ability to be so decentralized. But at the same time, the decentralized freedom aspect of crypto is what will keep us in a sound money economic state to where anyone who tries to take too much power and become tyrannical will be shut down almost immediately. And so despite the fact that we sometimes can understand people wanting to take control from other people, that is just not the case that will ever work for the betterment of this world.
Absolutely. Well, Vet, I would love to hear your opinion on Hillary's take here. You don't have to go into too much detail, or you can. Feel free to say whatever you like, buddy. I know it's a very political topic, but what is your take on this whole idea of exchanges should shut down service in Russia? What is your take on that?
Of course. Yeah, I try my best to also stay apolitical. I try to stay out of it. Again, whatever your preference is, by all means, as far as looking at this as a non-emotional, from thinking from the outside, we look at Bitcoin and decentralization. Our main course, the dogs bark now. My main goal with decentralization is we're trying to solve the Byzantine generals problem. And this is to arrive at consensus and without relying on a trusted third party. And if we're trying to say that, we need people to stop using Bitcoin because this is better for what we're trying to do, Russia and Ukraine, that's absolutely not what I'm trying to do, right? That's not what I'm for. And, this brings up the same problem previously with Biden. He was saying that Bitcoin was a threat of national security. And this whole idea of national security threat is based on the fact that we can't control it to limit Russia from using it. And, where we go from here, this is just proving Bitcoin's use case and how decentralization is going to win over fiat currencies and all of these other motives.
And I think it also just is another example of what we've been talking about this entire show and what we've been talking about for weeks ever since the invasion began and right before it happened, was that Bitcoin is going to, the use case and the reason that Bitcoin exists is going to be proven through this. I saw a Forbes article the other day talking about how the invasion that's going on in Eastern Europe only goes to exemplify the reason why Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies were created in the first place, which was to be immutable, to be decentralized, as he talked about, solving the Byzantine generals problem, something that had been trying to be solved for decades, finally has been solved. The purpose of Bitcoin was for people. The purpose of Bitcoin was to put the power back in the hands of the people, because I firmly believe, and so does Satoshi Nakamoto, and so does anybody who's ever read the white paper of Bitcoin and agrees with it, I firmly believe that the best person to have control and sovereignty over their finances is the person whose finances are in question in the first place. May, I'd love to hear any final thoughts you have on that before we move on to Super Chats.
I love this. You know why I love this, guys? Because ultimately, I think you guys, we're being very, for good reason. We're not wanting to step on any toes here. But like the thing is, we do preach something called financial sovereignty, right? That's something we talk about on the show. That's very clearly, I think that hints at exactly how we feel about it, right? Financial sovereignty doesn't, like, not everyone has to agree with even that. Like we preach it here, but like the thing is, there's some people who just would prefer that the government has control of their currency. That ain't me. That ain't me. I want control over my money. And so ultimately, like if we leave the door open for Bitcoin to be used and abused in that manner, because let's be clear, Bitcoin is just a tool. It is not good. It's not evil. And sometimes we actually need to be careful on the other flip end of thinking that Bitcoin is intrinsically good. Bitcoin is not intrinsically good.
It doesn't have morals.
Bitcoin is just a tool, right? So what we have to do, though, is if we're all here agreeing that we want to be pursuing financial sovereignty, we use the tool to do that. And if people are using the tool to not do that, then it's our, in that position to be like, hey, we don't agree with this. We think this is a misuse of the tool, right? You're using a screw to hammer in a nail. You probably shouldn't be doing that. And the thing is, at that point, you might as well just be using your CBDCs. But honestly, no one really likes the CBDCs, right?
No, they don't.
So maybe, just maybe, we should use the hammer like a hammer and say if it's a decentralized currency, let's leave it decentralized and not let it pick sides in conflict and leave it neutral. So that's my point. I think that it should stay neutral. I think that's how we need to be continuing to think about. And I'm saying specifically Bitcoin because, to be honest with you guys, not every single cryptocurrency is actually all about decentralization.
No.
Not every single one. There's going to be blockchains that are built to be centralized, run by a company, and it depends on the use case, right? But ultimately, when we're talking about money, when a blockchain wants to be your money, Smay says, you better not be centralized because I've done my whole life and my family before me have had to deal with centralized currencies, and they're no fun.
Amen.
So we're in this time of future development where we get to actually have the option. So that's why I think it's pretty great.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and move into Super Chats. We're going to run through them pretty quick here.
Yeah, we got one from Stefan with Stanley saying, what are your thoughts on DAG, D-A-G?
Not familiar with it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Vet,
man.
are you, Harry, I keep calling you Vet. Harry, are you familiar with
Depends
DAG?
which DAG. I know there's a couple different ones.
Oh, sorry, Stefan. We'll do the best we can to get that answer as best we can. Crypto Fur said, would love some more TI on Engine and Kadena and some more alts at the end of your awesome Bitcoin stuff. You know, there's what we're kind of working as a company is trying to find, and we want this show to be as clean and concise and consistent for you guys as possible. That doesn't mean we don't want to answer those questions. So we're working on right now, we have a content council, is how do we provide people the best best information possible, but also make sure we're putting it in the right spaces. So Cryptopher, keep an eye out. We will have a way to do some more of those 2-minute technicals, but more than likely right now on Coffee and Crypto, we're not going to see those happening, but it's going to be put into other platforms.
Yep.
Let's see. We got one from Tony 420 Tokables. Haven't had him in a while. Cardano TA, he asks. Tony, we had some last night that you can go back and watch the video. Yeah, and we'll definitely, I mean, Cardano's a project we will probably do videos at least once, if not twice a week on what's happening TA there. Matt C said, shout out to Crypto Vet for sitting in with us. Great way to end the week. And thank you to everyone in this community. Much love to you all. Absolutely. Just so you guys know, the reason Harry is here, and I want him to be here more often because I really enjoyed him being here, was, you know, when I didn't know where Jebb was gonna, if he was gonna be able to come in today due to the sickness. So I called Harry, and I just want to thank him so much. I called him literally yesterday at 3 o'clock, and he was like, absolutely, man. So that's another, like, Harry, thank you so much for being a part of this community. You resemble what we are trying to build, just a willingness and openness to help people update their knowledge of crypto.
Yeah.
Last one I see here.
Kalikulum.
Yeah, Kelly Kellum, on his way to Japan, said people comparing Bitcoin to the dollar is silly. Thinking we should weapon it to control people based on geopolitical needs and the inability to do so proves its use case. Bull. And the last thing, Kelly, agree with you, and I'm going to move on here in a second. But Mike Markle, who's been a member now for a while, he upgraded to Jedi Grand Master.
Woo, thank you,
That's
Mike.
another name to put on the HODL trophy.
Thank you, Mike.
And speaking of the HODL trophy, we are announcing the winner here in 5 minutes. I don't think it's really close. I mean, Kelly is going to win. But what I think we should do, Jebb, is let's go back to the Bitcoin charts as we talk about. I'm going to update them on why Kelly's going to win and what our predictions were. But let's go back to the Bitcoin charts while we wait to officially crown him for 2 weeks in a row, the HODL trophy winner. Bitcoin right now sitting right above. It's at 40,600. What are your thoughts on that, Jebb?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin right now is... it's having a hard time. I think it's going to pull back down to $40,000 at this rate. The one good thing about Bitcoin's price action is that it's currently in a bit of a falling wedge right now. This falling wedge could break to the upside, but I think you're going to have, I don't know, to be honest with you, it's a little bit complicated because it's also breaking below this uptrending level of support that I was outlining earlier. I just don't see a lot of confidence in Bitcoin right now. It came up here and had this rounded top, and now I think it's going to continue dropping. I would like for it to hold at 40K, but I'm actually thinking that a lot of this bulk zone of support back here between 38 and 40 is what might end up holding it up.
You know, if you go to my chart real quick, Smay, I have these two zones. These are two zones I'm looking at right now, and that 40,500, which we're sitting at right above right now, and 40,000. If we cannot hold 40,000, even though technically there's a chance we hover somewhere in the $39,000 region, I honestly think we're going to be dropping down to 38 pretty much to 37.5. I talked about this yesterday. We right now, if I'm out on the daily chart, and I have my TD sequential and Bollinger Bands up, I'll explain that in a minute. If we drop down there, we're no longer are setting higher lows. But as it stands right now, if we can gather some support, we are actually setting higher highs and higher lows. I guess daily chart's a little too far out to show that. Let me go back down to the 4-hourly chart. We are setting higher highs and higher lows and moving up. And what I'm seeing that's giving me, again, not all confidence, because all this could be is a sideways movement before dropping again. But right now on the 4-hourly chart, we're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands and had a bullish 9 flash. It's red color. We call it green 9s or bullish 9s. We had that flash 4 candles ago, which for those of you who have taken CT2A or done any studying of TD sequential, sometimes it goes past that, but until we see something happen, we should be expecting at least a slowdown, and it's happening right there at that zone that I'm talking about. The hourly chart is where it kind of concerns me because, yes, we're coming to the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, but we could create some volatility, and the RSI is not setting up bullish divergence whatsoever. The 4-hourly is. The 4-hourly is setting it up right here. You guys can see the RSI is already lower than this peak right here, and I talked about that $37,500 level. If we can stay above that, but the RSI being already below it, that is a hidden bullish RSI divergence, which is a continuation pattern, which would play into that inverse head and shoulders. Now, Jebb, do you have any thoughts about that before I?
No, I think it's great what you're saying there. That TD sequential is really important.
You can go on my chart. I don't even know if you're still there. The reason why we think Kelly's about to win, and again, we technically have to wait another 2 minutes, but on Tuesday we gave our predictions. At Smay's 48,000, you need a lot to happen. You gotta get up above 46,000.
It's coming. Just give me 2 minutes, and I'm calling some whale friends, and it's gonna happen.
Got some whale friends. Got Sailor on the line. Got a Hoskins on the line.
I liked where we were sitting yesterday at 44,000. Didn't hold up. Jebb's 43,750, not that far away.
Nah.
Jebb would need it to rally back above 43,000 for him to win. Not gonna to happen. So Kelly's 42,256. If you guys guessed Team Kelly, you were correct. I am interested. If anyone in chat predicted $40,000 by Friday, that would be very interesting. But it does look, like I said, it's technically not official just yet. But Kelly, if you're listening, congratulations on win number 2
Kelly.
in a row. It feels good.
Congratulations, Kelly.
I think all of us now at one point have won 2 to 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, yeah.
So, Kelly, you now joined the club.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. Well, guys, there is one more announcement that I need to make before this stream is over. Tim, do you think we're ready to make that announcement?
It's on you, man.
I think we're ready to make this announcement. It is my announcement, yeah. So, guys, listen up. I got a very special announcement, and I'm super nervous to announce this. I'm getting married tomorrow. Yeah, seriously, I have been engaged for a while now, and I haven't told you guys any about it. And I'm getting married tomorrow, and I'm going on vacation next week, and it's not just vacation, it's actually my honeymoon. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've kept it close to my chest, and I'm so excited. I'm so incredibly happy, and I don't even know. I'm just very excited. I'm very excited. I don't even know what to say. Can you guys help me out here? I don't know how to announce this properly.
Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Yes. I can tell you, marriage is amazing. It is phenomenal, and it's also one of the hardest things in the world. But the advice that I would give you, Jebb, even publicly, and then anyone else who's about to get married, is people aren't going to like this answer, but marriage is a beautiful thing that actually is the betterment of the man. I was told by a pastor once that until you get married, it might be hard to fully understand the concept of sanctification. And that is, after your salvation and your relationship with Jesus Christ, to continue to grow as a man. There is nothing more humbling and growing than to daily lay down your life for someone else and be forced to, like you have to do with a wife. And then wait till you have kids, and then it's like, oh man, it stirs up even more. So happy for you, Jebb. Welcome to the club.
I appreciate it.
You grow in wisdom, grow in strength. So.
No, it's been a really amazing journey. No, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm getting married tomorrow.
This chat is going absolutely wild.
I know. I told everybody, like, watch the chat whenever I say this. I'm really interested to see what happens. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I know that's a little off topic, but I mean, it's pretty important. So yeah, second biggest day of my life is tomorrow. The first most important day of my life, obviously, being the day I came to Christ. But yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm super excited, and it's gonna be great. And yay! Thank you for the class. I appreciate that. I'm sure Sarah's watching right now. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for the super chat, Crypto.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello. I think she's watching. I think her sister Anna might be watching also.
Yeah.
Hello. Shout out to you guys. And yeah, so I'm super excited. I don't even know what to say. I'm trying to think of something.
Crypto just gave $100 Hong Kong. I don't know what that really means, but you are. It's an emoji saying you are amazing.
Aww.
Love you guys.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Well, changing a little bit before we close out, I want to let Crypto vet, and I want Harry to be able to just say anything else he wants to say. Also, I know we said it earlier in the show, but anyone who joined late, where can they find you and follow you? What platforms are you on?
Yeah, no, thanks again, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate everybody's, kind words, and, I look forward to definitely coming back on in the future if you guys will have me. I definitely have way more NFT, DeFi, crypto knowledge now than I do as far as TA, although I still think I have a good amount of TA and can offer a lot of market sentiment and analysis if requested. Absolutely. I know a lot of things in chat were asking what I'm doing, so I'll go ahead and drop This is my link tree in there. This has pretty much what I'm doing and what I'm going through right now, what I'm working on. The most common things, if you like NFTs, Dash League, it's a crypto MMORPG game that we developed. And then as well as ESTN, if you like gaming. This is if you're on the other side, if you like the tournaments and you want to participate in watching live events. This is the metaverse of gaming. So please check out ESTN and of course my Twitter, YouTube. We're going to be bringing more to the YouTube. I'm going to be trying to do just more like vlogging of my market structure. And then of course, anything Jebb and anybody else needs help with, I'm here for you guys. I absolutely love doing this. Was very fortunate to be in this position, and I'm going to keep spreading the word.
Yeah, man. Awesome. I can't wait to bring you back on, Harry. You did a great job today, man. I really appreciate it. Guys, seriously, go follow Harry. I've known him for a year now. He's a great guy, and he is definitely worthy of a follow. Guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. We got 700 likes. Thank you so very much. And also, thank you for the donations that you guys are sending in. So, yeah, I really appreciate that. Have coffee with your bride on my account, said Win Peoples. I appreciate that. I will do that. She and I both love coffee. Mike said, sent $10, said, congrats, Jebb. Love and respect. Thank you so much, Mike. April Sue sends $20. Wedding gift for the couple. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cryptopher had his donation. You guys are awesome. Thank you so very much. And yeah, The words can't describe how excited I am and how much peace I have about this and how much I know this is the... I've never been so sure of anything as a lyric in one of the songs going to be playing tomorrow at the wedding, and I finally understand what the lyric like that means. I've never been so sure of anything in my life, and I'm really excited. I'm so very thankful for all of you guys. I'm so very thankful for the channel that we built here and all the amazing things that we're going to be doing over the next several years. Guys, what's coming even just this month is insane. Some of the things coming out, some of the things you're about to see, we've been working on for over a year. We got a lot coming, guys. It's going to be great. I really appreciate it, and we might go a minute or two over here. That's all right. Matt C. donated $20. Another wedding gift for you and the new missus. Thank you so much, Matt. James C. Obleton III said, congrats. Thank you. Tom Wilkes.
I love Tom Wilkes.
Donated $69.95. Thank you so much for that. I would have gotten you a blender for a wedding gift, so take this and pick one up. Lol, congratulations. Thanks, Tom. I lost mine. She keeps asking me, like, where's your blender, Jeb? I'm like, yeah, I think I left it at Tim's house back when we lived together.
I have a comment here from Amir. He says, when is Smeg getting married? Guys, I have an announcement to make myself.
Okay.
Guys, I am tomorrow. I'm still going to be single. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I know it's a big step for me to continue to be single.
That's not gonna last long, dude. You got a lucky lady waiting for you out there. Alexandria Ignacio, 6 months, Jebb by night, said congrats to Jebb and Sarah. May God bless your union and all the happiness to you both. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, I'm gonna be gone for a week, and then when I get back, you'll see the ring on my finger. We got the rings and everything in. So yeah, gonna be tomorrow. And I'm super excited. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's stream, hit that like button. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And be praying for me, man. I really need it. All the thoughts and prayers you can think of, I really appreciate all of it, because I do believe God responds to those prayers. And I don't believe that, I know it. I've watched it happen many times. So any of our believers out there, please be praying over myself and Sarah and the relationship and our future. It looks like it's going to be great, but you know, there's always hardship, but we want to love like Jesus. That's our family motto. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in a week. Peace.